Did you know that Left 4 Dead 2 was so popular that an expansion was released 11 years after the original launch date? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos and opinions, make sure you visit TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 121. My name's Gareth Friday, I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. James Burks. How you doing?
Hello there, you alright?
Good. You don't sound too good, James. You alright?
Yeah, not too bad. Just a little bit, well, let's say, not hay fever, but something.
Oh.
Something's setting me off.
So no.
I'll survive.
Good.
We've got a podcast to do.
We have.
Come on, guys. Let's do this.
Juicy calls.
On my virtual right is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Apart from nearly smashing a printer to bits with my bare hands, I'm okay.
Oh, God, printer problems.
Just doesn't do what it says. I need to get Paul in to sort it out, I think.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. On my virtual opposite is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hi again. Good, guys. Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. You sound quite rushed, Richard. You want to get over there and done with?
Well, it's my third in a row. I'm
Very good, thank you. Bye-bye. Come on, let's move. Let's get it done.
See ya.
Richard, what have you been doing this week?
Well, since Thursday, I think when we last spoke on the podcast, I've not done anything. So the only thing I can offer up to you guys in the days since was I had a bit of a weird dream last night.
Tell me more.
So, in my dream, I was being kept prisoner by some guy who looked like Keith Sutherland, but I don't want to say it was him.
For legal reasons.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
He wasn't a very good captor either, so each day we were being held captive in a different house, but he'd put the onus on us to make it to these houses ourselves. And he was like, right, go off, do your own thing, and then come back to this new house at the end of the day, and if you don't, they'll be held to pay. And so he was working alongside his wife, and we all realised fairly quickly that his wife didn't want to be, like, kidnapping people and keeping them prisoner. So our main thing was going out each day and buying her gifts to try and win her over. And then when we got to this house this last time, something stirred in my head that I was like, maybe I've been here before, and he really is just really bad at kidnapping people. So I went and I had a bit of a fight with him, and I realised that we could easily overpower him.
And
The Netflix series waiting to happen.
it was at the end of the dream.
It was. Maybe I'm thinking in future podcasts I just produce a dream, because that seemed to be more entertaining than some of the stuff I've been doing recently.
Never, Richard. Oh, that's good. So you overpowered Keith Sutherland. I love the fact that you just let you go in the day and said you've got to be back at this house by a certain time and you're all free to go.
I feel like he was missing the point of kidnapping, which is why I thought we could take him, and we did.
Yeah, good. That's good. That's happy ever after. I like that. Darren, what about you? You haven't been dreaming?
No, although we've got a new segment for the podcast. Definitely.
I know we have, definitely. Richard's weird dreams.
Paul's health updates and Dobbo's dreams. I can't wait for the next one. So last week I was invited along to a event for the upcoming Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So I couldn't talk about it until Monday when the embargo lifted. So we got treated to 45 minutes of gameplay, which was really cool. So we got to see an episode from each of the trilogies and a bit of a deep dive, and it looks really, really good. So I've written a few thoughts that's live on the site now if people want to read any more about it. But April the 5th it's coming, and it looks fantastic. If you like Lego and Star Wars, or either of the two, you're going to love it, I think.
it does look amazing, doesn't it? The backdrops and stuff.
It looks brilliant. It sounds brilliant as well. Like the soundtrack, the voice acting, they've got some original cast members involved in the project as well. It looks like a proper labour of love by the team.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, looking forward to that. Good. Lego Star Wars coming out soon. What about you, James? What have you been doing?
Not a lot. I can't tell you, my dreams are a bit too risque for this podcast.
Move the time slot.
Yeah, I think after dark.
That's where you have to pay for the subscription for James's dreams.
That's it.
Yeah.
I will pay.
I certainly will.
There you go, one subscriber. No, but I had a nice little package today. It was, Soul Box, the Korean snack box that I used to get, I used to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, in this month's tasting guide, which is like what's in the box and like how to use it and what to do with it, they had a feature. They have a feature every month for a certain subscriber, and I was in the book this time.
Oh.
They did a little bit of an interview with me as a soulmate, as they call it.
Wow.
So that was in the tasting guide.
Wow.
And that was quite nice to see.
Yeah.
Ugly mug in the tasting guide. Put people off the food.
That's good. I like that. So you just a little interview with you. That's good.
Yeah, it was nice. They asked me a few questions by email and then picked a few out and put them in there.
Oh, did you plug the podcast?
No, I don't tell you about the podcast. It's not worth it.
Good idea.
It's embarrassing.
Good work. Good. That's it. Good. I've not had much going on this week. Apart from work, I'm working like a maniac at the moment. I watched a film called The Father, which has been out for a long time already. Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for Best Actor, not last year, I think. It's a really good film. If you want to watch something, it's on Amazon Prime at the moment. So it's a very depressing film. It's a film about dementia, but it's probably one of the best films I've seen that deals with it, just the way they do the narrative structure, and I think it gives you a really good idea of what it's like. But it's just really, really well done. And he deserved the Oscar for it. He's absolutely brilliant in it. So if you fancy something a bit depressing, but also brilliantly done, give The Father a go.
Yeah, even not listening to this podcast. Either way, I'm okay.
But we are a gaming podcast, so let's get on to what games we've been playing this week. Who's going to go first? Darren, you go first.
So it's not been long, has it, since we last together? So we only got one this week.
Okay.
But it's called the Last Cube. So my review went up last week, and how to describe it? It's a puzzle platformer, essentially. So you play as the titular Last Cube, and you have to navigate your way around certain levels. And on each face of your cube, you can pick up what's called a sticker. And these stickers have varying abilities. So there are 6 in total, different ones. And they range from you being able to walk across gaps and kind of have temporary steps in midair to clear gaps in between platforms. You can create a clone cube, which can then roll off and help you progress through the level. There's other ones where it looks like a cube walking on its tiptoes. It's really peculiarly adorable. It like rolls around on its point so it can get across different platforms that you wouldn't be able to get across otherwise. It sounds a bit out there, but it's brilliant. It's really well designed, really, really well designed. And there's a real clear difficulty curve as well. So it starts off quite manageable. And then before you know it, you've got to use like 3 or 4 of the stickers at once to get through certain levels. And then there are bonus levels that you can unlock, which are the kind of toughest tests. So if you're interested in something that's a little bit different, but will give the old grey matter a run for its money, then I'd recommend picking it up. It's really well done.
So it's a puzzle adventure game.
Yeah, essentially, it's like a platformer, but you play as a cube, and there's loads of puzzle elements, and you've got to solve those puzzle elements to progress. So there are certain tiles, if you like, on the floor it might be water, so it might wipe away your sticker completely. So you've got to figure out how to get past them without losing your abilities and all sorts. It's really well done, really clever.
Oh, and your review's on the site, yeah?
It is, yeah. It's live now. If you want to give it a read.
What have you given it?
4 out of 5. I gave it.
Wow.
It's it's really good. It's worth picking up. Easy to miss, but really enjoyable.
Great, good, Darren.
How much is it?
It's about 11 or 12 quid, I think. I think it's normally about 15, but it was on offer. I can't remember if it still is. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it.
Good, thank you, Darren. Richard, what's your game?
I played a mobile game this week called Poppy's Playtime.
Right.
Which wasn't originally a mobile game. It was originally released on Steam at the end of last year, but I'd watched a load of Let's Plays of it. And then Laura and I went for a walk this week, and we saw a little girl holding a teddy of the main baddie in Poppy's Playtime, which is a big giant furry thing called Huggy Wuggy. So I had another look at Poppy's Playtime, and I found that there was a mobile version of it, so I thought I've got to play it. But Poppy's Playtime is a horror puzzle game where you go into an abandoned toy factory, and you've got to figure out what's going on in there, all whilst being chased by this hulking blue furry beast called Huggy Wuggy.
I'm looking at it now on the images of it while you're speaking. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. There's a bit towards the very end, and minor spoilers, where he starts chasing you through these like sewer ducts or air vents or whatever. And you can get far enough ahead of him, and then if you turn round, because he's obviously had to scrunch up to fit into these vents, you can just see him chasing you down. And it is honestly terrifying, but at the same time, really good fun.
Great, probably, and it's a mobile game, yeah? You say
it's on Steam. Right. I've played it on mobile, but I am praying that it comes to Xbox or consoles very soon, because it's really enjoyable. It's very short. I think do it in less than an hour, but this is the first chapter. I've seen the trailer for chapter 2, which I cannot remember the name of the baddie in that, but it's basically a big giant pink spider.
What do? You just run away from it? Is that the game?
I think you have to create a toy, I think, to try and escape. There's a lot of lore involved with it that involves kidnapping again, which is the theme of my stuff today. And I think it gets really sinister to do with like orphans and taking their souls and putting them inside these toys. But this Huggy Wuggy is almost like the mascot for this toy company. But he appears in the entrance, and then when you return to this entrance, he's not there, and you're like, "Oh, hang on a minute, this is going to get weird now." And then he turns up when you least expect it and starts chasing you down.
Wow.
I think because he will eat you. Judging from the size of his teeth, he's not there to scare you. He's there because he's hungry.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, good. Looking forward to that. Poppy's Playtime. James, what about you? What have you been playing?
I almost had nothing. I was going to tell you about the Gems of War update. Luckily for you, there's a game coming out next Monday called Vengeful Heart, and it's a visual novel. So if you don't like reading, this will not interest you in the slightest.
Right.
But it's set like in a dystopian future, and the main character is an engineer at a water company. And at this time, water is the most highly sought after commodity. It's like liquid gold, because the actual groundwater is just undrinkable. Like the planet's absolutely exhausted. So you play an engineer, and basically, the engineer is living a great life until one day, the company she works for cuts off the water to an apartment building and basically holds the whole building hostage to the demands of sell us your building or you get no water. So it's a bit of a big company just really taking the mick out of the lower social classes and just running right over everyone to make money. And that's just like the first chapter or two. After that, it gets a bit violent and the main character gets seriously hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes like a revenge story.
Right.
And she gets a cybernetic upgrade, let's say.
In her heart?
Yes. I know. How did you figure that out?
I don't know. Yeah.
And she works with a group of other like-minded, after vengeance characters. And it's got a very 80s feel to it. As in the music, the storytelling. It's a bit of action, but it's really about social politics. And it is interesting.
Okay.
But you'll know within the first half an hour whether you're into it or not. I quite like it. I was wanting to play more, but we have to do a podcast. So I'm just going to look into it.
Is it on Xbox?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, next Monday it's coming.
Ah, okay, brilliant.
It's going to be £10.
Good.
And I'm reviewing that, so you can look out for a review in the next week or so.
Great. Thank you, James. I have been playing Elden Ring still and Horizon Forbidden West. That's just swapping between those two. But I've been doing...
Elden Ring?
What's Elden Ring? Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
We've not talked about that.
No.
In between, though, I've been playing Trivial Pursuit 2. I don't think it's called that. I think it's called Trivial Pursuit Live or something. Live 2, but it's definitely 2. And it's by Ubisoft. And it's exactly the same as the first game.
I did wonder how they could evolve it.
There's no difference from what I can make out. Different questions. That's it. But it's the same idea. You play a sort of like 5 rounds or 3 rounds you can choose between, and you're up with 4 people, and you can play on your own against the AI, or you can go online, or you can play with a friend and swap the controller around. But I've played online quite a lot, and actually I'm starting to use there's a bit of waiting around for start, but actually now you pretty much get a game, and that's good because it's a real competition because everyone's kind of you're not getting AIs just choosing something ridiculous like where is America, and they go to the ocean. They go for that. I'm enjoying it online, but it does get a bit the samey after a while. But if you're after a quiz game that you play with family, play with people online, it's gonna. I've not had the same question twice, and I've played quite a few games. Yeah, but it's not that much difference for the first one.
Can I ask one question?
You certainly can.
Are the questions quite Americanized?
Yeah, they are. I mean, generally when it gets to sport and leisure, you get quite a lot of American football questions. But it's not. It's pretty. It's good. It's good. The questions are good. The questions are hard as well. So it's.
How many questions are there?
There seems to be loads. I've not had the same one twice.
Can you count them and let me know?
I will do. I'll do that next time.
Okay.
Sorry, Richard.
Saying you can't review it until you've got every single question.
Yeah, exactly. Richard, have you got another game to talk about?
I have. I probably should have started with this one, thinking about it. But a release that came out last week was Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, and I'm playing that and reviewing it for the site now at the moment. I've only played about 4.5-5 hours of it so far, but it's pretty good. It's almost like a retelling or a reimagination of the very first Final Fantasy game, which involves the 4 Warriors of Light going to try and kill this knight called Gareth.
Good what? Have I lost you?
Hello?
I lost...
Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm back. I had another phone call that stopped it. But I'm back.
It was called and then you win.
No.
I liked it.
I thought Kiefer Sutherland had got me then for a second.
It wasn't Kiefer. I can't. Kiefer. I don't want him. I don't want the real guy coming for me.
I know.
We love you, Kiefer.
So I think it's called Garland, but anyway, in this reimagination of it, you start off on a quest to kill chaos, and that is the reoccurring theme. I've heard the name Chaos about 20, 30 times, and every time it's Jack's the main protagonist going, I need to kill Chaos. There was a point in the game where someone suggested to him that maybe this Chaos was a construct created by man to sort of explain all the bad things that was happening in the world, and this Jack was like, nah, I'm not buying that. I'm here to kill Chaos. Literally walks off and then put some early noughties rap metal on in his headphones and just left everyone to it.
Jesus.
It's a very bizarre game. Some of it's very rushed as well, so when you try and speak to people, there's no towns to really explore that I've encountered yet anyway. It's all done through the main menu. You'll pick the option to talk to people, and then you can pick who to talk to people, and then it'll show you a quick cutscene of you talking to that person, but there's no towns or cities to explore.
Right.
So that side of it feels very rushed, but then on the other hand, the combat and the job system is really good, really, really impressive, and it feels like all the time has been put into developing this impressive job system and combat, and then everything else sort of rushed by at the last minute. It's supposedly like a Soulsborne game where you go through these areas. Every so often you'll reach a checkpoint, and then you can level up at these checkpoints. But the combat is very quick and a lot less technical than Elden Ring, for example.
Right.
You can go in, sort of mash the right bumper a lot easier, and end up defeating the enemies just through sheer power. But yeah, it's a weird one. There's a lot of it that I don't like, but then the combat is really good, and I'm enjoying playing through these areas with all the different jobs that I've got. So there's mages, there's all the typical Final Fantasy job types and job tropes. But it's fun to then you can find more doing side quests, and then once you complete a skill tree, you can unlock new jobs and everything. So they're quite fun to do. But yeah, a lot of it does feel rushed at the same time.
Okay. I won't be playing it. I don't even know what it is. I don't understand it. It seems to be a Final Fantasy different game coming out every day. Yeah, no, good. But you like it, Richard, don't you? You think it's all right?
Yeah, I mean, it's Final Fantasy, so I'm not going to berate it too much.
I will. Just give me that Final Fantasy VII, the second one, the remake, or the new Final Fantasy. That's what I want.
Yeah, that would be preferable.
Yeah. We'll leave it on. Maybe I'll save the pizza boy who saved the world for next time.
Oh, wow. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah. Let's go on to the news. Now, last week when we did our podcast, there was a state of play that happened that night. And it was for Hogwarts Legacy. And we saw a 20-minute video showing quite a bit of gameplay. Have you guys seen it before I even start this?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
My God. We researched. James?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
Twice.
Oh my God, you haven't seen it twice, you liar. Darren, what's your thoughts on the Hogwarts Legacy, first of all? Initial thoughts.
I've never been a massive Harry Potter fan. I've always been, there was always in the noughties, it was, are you a fan of Lord of the Rings or are you a fan of Harry Potter? And I was more Lord of the Rings. But in terms of an kind of open world deep dive experience because it's set in the late 1800s, isn't it? It's set way before the original films and stuff where Harry Potter was in it. It does look quite good. It looks good in terms of visually, and it also looks good in terms of just how deep the experience is going to be. But half the stuff they were talking about, I had no idea what it was, because I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan. So I think it will be really good, but it's not one that I'll probably look at, to be honest, especially because it's probably going to take a hefty amount of investment time-wise as well, I'm going to say.
Yeah. James, what's your thoughts?
It looks a lot bigger and more expansive than I expected, I think. Because there's quite a bit of open world to it as well.
Yeah.
By the looks of the gameplay. I was more interested in the puzzles and just the puzzles, really. That's all that interests me, really. I don't mind Harry Potter. But I think it's at the point where, is it really relevant these days? Who's really watching Harry Potter? Who's thinking about Harry Potter? Hopefully no one. It's quite boring. But I do like that they're going back in time, because it means you can create new characters. I think the story might be interesting because of that. I think if they rehash the same, bring in Dumbledore and Voldemort, it'd be a bit, really? But it's good to do an original take on it. I was a bit confused at one point where I think they were like cultivating plants on a timer, half an hour.
Yeah.
I thought, if I'm in a game and I want something, I'm not going to wait half an hour for it to do it.
Well, there's a big thing online, wasn't there, about everyone went, sounds like you can pay to get it done quicker, with microtransactions.
Yeah.
But then they said there's no microtransactions. So.
Oh, that's right.
So you have to wait half an hour.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit weird. But yeah, it looks a lot better than I expected. But I'm still not enticed enough to get it day one.
Yeah.
I might try it when it's cheap or if it's on Game Pass or something. Yeah. It's alright.
Okay, it's alright. Darren's not too impressed. Right, you, Richard, you're going to bring this home? You're going to be a big Harry Potter fan?
Do you know what? I really like the look of this. So I loved the Harry Potter books growing up as a kid. I thought the first 3 films were brilliant. I thought the rest of the films were absolute dog dirt, though. So I sort of fell out with the world of Harry Potter a lot when those films ruined the books that I loved so much as a kid. But this, I think the scale and the scope looks absolutely brilliant. I was expecting it when it first got announced to just be like a bully version set in Hogwarts. But seeing this presentation is like there's a lot more other stuff going on. But it made me laugh afterwards that everyone was like, well, where's Quidditch? And I was like, God, well, there's pretty much everything else in here that you could want for a Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the size of it is very impressive.
It reminded me of, bear with me, you lot, for this, watching the Red Dead 2 trailer for the first time for gameplay, because it felt like this time it was like, when I remember watching Red Dead 2, it's like, and you can do this, and you can go fishing, and you can do all these things, and you can do that, and you can do this. It felt like this trailer was going on for, oh my God, there's so much going on. There's so much. It did feel like a load of stuff that you're doing, because like you said, you've got the going to lessons thing, you've got this kind of overarching narrative about a goblin uprising. But like James said, there's lots of puzzles, like dungeons in Hogwarts, and you can go outside Hogwarts.
And combat.
Yeah.
Loads of combat.
Yeah.
Interesting combinations as well with the environment. With the environment, you can bring them close to you. You can, attack them in various ways. It looks quite innovative in combat-wise. Yeah.
And you have sort of like, is it like allies you can choose from, someone you're working with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it's coming to Series X, isn't it? And it's coming to PlayStation 5, so it's them only, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's. I've seen it mentioned on PS4 as well.
Because it's going to Switch, isn't it? I don't know how it's going to get on a Switch. I can't imagine that.
Quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah. PlayStation 4, Xbox One,
right,
PC, and Switch.
Yeah, there's a special Switch version where you stay inside Hogwarts. It's all cartoony graphics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's not much else you can do.
Yeah.
It's a remake of Philosopher's Stone on the PS1.
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree with. Well, I think it's good that it's a new story. It's in a new kind of era. I think all that's really good, and it's but still you can still walk around the place that you know, and you want to explore more, and it looks very deep, that place. And it's coming this year, isn't it? September? No, not September. Autumn. No, this is late 2022. Holiday 2022. So it's another big old game coming in that time as well. God, there's a lot of massive games, isn't there? I'm kind of like, I really like to explore that world. I don't know how much is going to grab me. That story's got to grab me fully. I don't really want to just keep going to potions classes and doing quick time things, or that's what I feel. There'll be a lot of that.
I think I'm just going to put it out there. I think the story will be the weakest part of it, and it's going to be reliant on everyone else going. But look where you can explore,
right?
And look how cool it is,
right? Good.
I think the story is going to be half baked.
Oh, jeez, thanks, Richard. Thank you. Good. Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. Let's go to Godfall. Is coming to Xbox Series X and One, which is I was quite surprised with. Are you, Richard?
Yeah, because I suppose they need to shift a few more copies, I suppose.
Is this coming to Game Pass?
I don't think I saw it. It's coming to Game Pass.
It's coming.
Not yet.
It's coming on April the 7th. It might be a Game Pass one. Have you played this, Richard or Darren?
No.
I haven't either.
No, because it's just me, is it? It's just me who's playing the bloody thing. I got it. I bought a copy of it, I think, pretty early on the PS5, and I enjoyed it. It was good. It got very repetitive, and the world looks lovely and sparkly, but it's worth a go. You just end up repeating stuff after a while. It's like getting gear and just doing the same old thing, but. Yeah, it's good, but I think you're right. I think they probably need to sell quite a bit, didn't they?
I think the good thing about it is that they did a massive update on the day it launches. So it's going to be a bit different to how it was when you first played it.
Right.
Okay. I mean, there's a new mode called, is it Spirit Realms, I think?
Right.
And that's a co-op mode. You can play it with 5 other people. So that could be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to have the option to try it. It looked like a decent game, nothing special. But decent.
Yeah.
I wonder how they'll price it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
wasn't it?
It's what, 2 years old now?
Yeah. It should. Yeah, and also you can get it in the sale on PlayStation 5 quite very cheap now. Another big announcement this time is The Witcher. Now, I said this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I said there's a new Witcher game in development. And you all went, nothing's been announced. I think you, James. And there is one. I think I must have heard this a long time. This wasn't news to me. I sort of knew this was going to happen. Or maybe I dreamt it. One of weird Richard's dreams.
Just keep the Sutherland there.
Yeah. But they've come out and said, yes, it's been CD Projekt Red. Announced on Monday. There's a new Witcher game. It might be called The Witcher 4. It might not be. A new saga begins, and there's just an image of the... What is it? What's that called? The medallion?
Mm-hmm.
With the eyes glowing in the snow. And the other thing we do know, it's going to be in Unreal Engine 5. it's going to be developed in rather than their own engine, which is interesting. A new Witcher game. Rick James, you're a massive Witcher fan. You excited about this?
I mean, massive is a bit of a overstatement. I love the game. I've forgotten everything about it since then. I need to remember other important things.
Yeah.
Well, nothing really. But no, I'm very excited that they're going to start a new... I think it's a completely new... Well, a new saga, they said, so... It's... As long as they take the time and don't do a cyberpunk, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? Don't have a terrible launch. Do whatever it takes to plan it out, make it an almost perfect game, and then release it to the world. Then I'll be happy. But I know all too well that it'll probably be an absolute mess. Just like The Witcher 3 was.
Good. Not optimistic there, James.
Yeah, I want them to do well.
Oh, yeah.
I know what they're like.
Good. It'd be nice on the Unreal Engine 5, seeing that kind of world. Would be amazing, yeah. Dan, Richard, you Witcher fans? I can't remember if we've talked about The Witcher ever.
Casually, but I haven't ploughed as many hours as needed into Witcher 3 to complete it. But I am excited about Unreal Engine 5, like you say, because did you play that Matrix kind of not play it, but experience that Matrix thing? It was incredible. So if they can tap into that, then I'm sure it'll look incredible.
What's the first Unreal Engine 5 we know that's coming? We know that the Hellblade 2's in Unreal Engine 5, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm not sure, really. There's just been concept stuff released, really, at the moment. There's been a few stills and that Matrix thing.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, we're not going to see this Witcher game for a long time, are we? You know, when they announced Cyberpunk, it was 2014, I think, the first one.
Oh, God, yeah. So
it's going to be a long time. But yeah, it's still exciting. There are a lot of people debating whether it's going to be not Geralt. It's going to be the focus. It'll be... Is it Ceci? Cece? Cece? I got that right? You don't.
We'll let you go with that.
Yeah, good. I like it. Talking about realistic graphics. That's my tenuous link.
Back with the links.
Yeah.
They're my favourite. Keep reading, Gareth.
The viewers love it. There was this kind of little video, wasn't it, that I've sent to you lot. It's a tech demo, and it's a little kind of 2-minute thing, and it's a visual presentation of Unity's tech demo, and it's called Enemies, and it's just worth having a look if you just type in Enemies Unity tech demo, and you'll see this sort of thing, and it's showing basically how they can do realistic facial expressions, isn't it? Photorealism with this kind of woman. Did you all have a look at this?
Yeah. I thought I was watching the Queen's Gambit again at first. I saw it. You serious?
Yeah, she's playing chess, isn't she? There's a kind of spirally thing going around her. Yeah,
60 years on.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? I mean, I think playing a few games at the moment, playing Horizon, Forbidden West, their facial animation is amazing. As in, I think I said before, every time Bernadette passes, she goes, "Oh, I know that actor," because it's like you are just in the room, and I think that's good. That's that, and it's also with Ally. You can, I think it mentions this thing. She starts to sweat when she's in hotter regions. So it's really, it's interesting seeing that kind of. Do we need this? Do we need photorealistic humans, Richard?
I think it's the next evolution, isn't it? It's in terms of computer graphics. It's like I think I mentioned it last week. It is starting to plateau off in terms of what games can achieve graphics wise. But yeah, to say that this was Unity as well, this tech demo, which is a free engine that anyone can use, was very impressive.
Yeah. James is impressed. I can tell that.
I think photorealistic sometimes isn't quite as good as when you just, use the imagination to create something that looks better than real. I mean, I obviously watching it knew it wasn't real because it told me it wasn't real.
Yeah.
But also, I think to really fool people, you've got to work on the eyes. Those eyes are just dead. There's no life in them. And once you nail that, I think it could make some incredible character models. And maybe the hair. The hair is a little bit weird. The way it moved.
Yeah.
A bit bouncy. Maybe too much hairspray. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's good for some games. I think a lot more games will need to use that to take it to the next level.
James Award.
For storytelling. I mean, don't count it out. James Award. It's years in the making. On the age of 5, when you come.
I think James makes a good point, though, that if you do go down the photorealistic route, you do lose that stylistic approach that games tend to have.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is an interesting debate to have.
It's interesting with Elden Ring, without saying that, because their character, human animations, I don't think are great facially. They look like PS3, just the faces. But that doesn't matter, exactly James's point, because all the other design around it is amazing. The kind of the creature, the world. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, with playing Horizon Forbidden West with this thing. When I think the problem with that game, the only problem is I've found the cutscenes are sometimes a bit boring. Some of the cutscenes, there's lots of dialogue conversations, and because all the dialogue conversations are acted out completely, you end up still watching them. Because it's like watching the TV. You're watching someone on the telly. Like in other games, you can just sort of like skip that stuff. If it's like in this one, it's like you're still watching it and going, actually, this is really dull. It's been going on for 5 minutes, but I'm still watching them chat because they're acting. They're acting in front of me, but actually, what they're saying is really boring. So it's. I mean, I think it will be more and more like that. I mean, it's great for performances and creatives because they can get more and more into this kind of uncanny valley kind of feel, doesn't it? Actors just looking like actors at that point. I think James is absolutely right. Do something creative with it as well. Don't just have actors on there. I watched the film The Adam Project on Netflix, and one of the scenes had it's time travel things. They had both the actress. Got her name, isn't it? Christine Keeler, I think. And her younger version. And that looked weird. Talking to herself, but they de-aged her in that weird way.
What did you think of it? Just off topic.
I really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
fun.
fell asleep trying to watch it last night.
It's fun. It's not. I think I watched it in 2 parts.
I might try that.
Yeah, I wouldn't go mad about it, but it's fun. Good. Let's go on to what should we talk about next? Should we talk about Haven Studios coming to the PlayStation family? Who put this on?
I chucked this on here because apparently their first new IP is going to be a AAA multiplayer experience. So that's got people kind of pondering what it could possibly be. But it's interesting because they're quietly, slowly adding studios to the kind of collective, aren't they? Whereas Microsoft, I felt like really make a big song and dance about it. I feel like PlayStation are quietly just building up their team in the background after the big news of the acquisition with Activision for Xbox. So I'm intrigued because we've talked about this before on the podcast quite a few times, but PlayStation have seemingly had this big, huge experience games focused on single player in terms of what's been released. So I was interested to see that this is specifically been billed as a multiplayer experience. Yeah.
It's interesting with PlayStation with their kind of you're right about the studio. I think Xbox had almost their big splurge last year, didn't they? In September, December, which really helped them talk about all their still grabbing people like who was their big thing before the Call of Duty people, Activision, Bethesda, yeah, and then they had their Halo release and their Forza release just before Christmas, and then it's been quite quiet, hasn't it? To be fair, this year, because they haven't had any releases, have they? Big releases, and PlayStation have had a few. And now we've leading on to the next bit, which is the Perfect Dark Studio people. What the hell's going on there?
Oh yeah, I saw this last week really, but we didn't have time to cover it. But it's interesting the timing of news when like poor cultures are kind of revealed in studios. I mean, it must happen in a lot of places, but you seem to have one report and then a few reports off the back of it, and then it all goes quiet again. But apparently half of the core development team had quit in the space of a year, which is a lot by anyone's stretch. I think it's around 36 people, and certain media sites have had a look at like LinkedIn profiles and kind of drawn up the numbers and stuff, but they're still saying that they're kind of confident in the overall studio and the direction they're heading. But that level of departures has drawn some attention, I think.
It's a worry, isn't it? I mean, what's the studio called? Is it The Initiative?
Yes, they're doing the Perfect Dark game, which is still in development as far as we're aware.
I mean, The Initiative, wasn't it like the best of everyone from all these different companies it's formed this studio?
Mm-hmm.
So quite big people, isn't it? From each place.
And Team Raider.
There could be a case of like there's too many kind of like alphas all in one place.
Potentially.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting to see how that goes with because we haven't really heard anything about Perfect Dark at all, have we? For a while.
I'd forgotten about it until this story broke, to be honest. Yeah. And then I thought, they're making a Perfect Dark reboot.
Yeah.
And remembered that I was looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's a lot of kind of like people leaving at the moment, things changing hands, people going around. But maybe we're more attuned to it now. Maybe we're more attuned to the kind of like the HR departments of big companies. I don't know. Maybe we just didn't affect us before. It didn't become a news thing. But okay, and we're going to just sort of like think about 2 TV show adaptations are coming out. The first one is A Plague Tale. It's getting turned into a TV show. Now Richard's played A Plague Tale. James hasn't. Darren, have you played it?
I haven't. No.
No, there we go. Richard, what do you think?
I think this is a brilliant idea for a TV show. As I've said many times, I think A Plague Tale and The Last of Us are quite similar in terms of game, story, and everything else. But I prefer A Plague Tale over The Last of Us. So that the fact that this one's getting a TV show as well is very exciting. I think there's a lot that they can do with that. But yeah, I'd be happy with just a retelling seen through the eyes of a different medium. Yeah. I think it'd be really interesting what they could do.
And I think the kind of historical aspects as well would maybe be interesting to more of an audience, maybe, rather than just like a game. I think that would be a big... I'm just trying to think of the beats of it, because it has got magic in it, hasn't it, of course? But it's about this kind of...
Set in France as well, is it? During is it the French Revolution? No, it's before that.
It's sort of 14th century time, isn't it? Yeah.
During their dealings with the Black Death and everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, it should be exciting. That. I think you're right. I think it's no point. I think we talked about this before, but the Last of Us, I'm really excited about, but I don't want it just to retread the same story as in the games, because they do it very well in the games.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want that with this as well, just doing the same beats. Because I think that would be disappointing, because it's like, you're just going to be disappointed because you know what's going to happen.
Unless you haven't played it before.
Well, you two need to bloody play the game. That's what I'm saying.
and then it'll ruin the story.
You've got to get on that now, soon, before the next one comes out. The other thing is, which I don't care about, but you lot will, it's Tekken Bloodline. It's an anime show based on Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
James, are you excited about this?
Oh, I've enjoyed the Tekken games for many years. I've never really got into the story much. So I think it's good to have a way to tell the actual lore behind the characters.
Mm.
I mean, it looked pretty good from the teaser that I saw. And there's a lot of faces that you'll recognise. I was most excited to see Armor King. But I think was it a comic book series? I don't know if you reviewed that, Richard, or someone else did.
Yeah. I didn't do this, which I think is going to be a prequel. I did something way after that. But I feel like Tekken, if you're going to pick a fighting game, Tekken's got an incredible amount of backstory that's not really explored anywhere near as much as it should be in the games. So any chance to explore that, I think is a good thing. Whenever
I played Tekken, like from the 90s, and I was really bad at any kind of I don't even know what it's called. What's it called? Games. Thank you. I always like the cutscenes. I remember the cutscenes just being amazing. It's kind of like before you start playing, on like these stories. It was always like all the fighters were coming together from around the world, like polar bears and all sorts of things, and pandas from everywhere. And I always thought, that world is interesting. It makes sense to them, even though it looked mad to me. So it makes sense to have that kind of world on view. People will like that. James will like that. Maybe Darren, Richard.
I've got fond memories of Tekken 3 for the PS1. I don't really know anything about the backstory because, as Richard rightly said, it wasn't too much of a focus in the games. But I remember having a lot of good times with that, and the beach volleyball spin-off game as well was good fun. But I doubt that'll be in it. So, but yeah, I'll give it a watch, especially if it's an anime and it's short, kind of 20-minute chunks, which I assume it will be. I feel like it'll be quite accessible and easy to get into.
Good. There we go. One more quick bit of news that's just come out today when we're recording is there's going to be another Ghostbusters game. And it's a 4 versus 1 multiplayer game very much in the lines of the Friday the 13th and those kind of games. I think they said Dan Aykroyd's going to be in it still, and as the character, it's going to voice Ernie Hudson. It's going to come out in autumn holiday again, 2022. Would you play this? Is this a good thing? Kind of like a 4 versus 1. I don't know if one of you plays as a ghost. I suppose you do, don't you? One of you will be like a Slimer ghost, and the other, or like, and then the rest of you will be like the Ghostbusters trying to get it.
As long as you can play as that zombie taxi driver, then I'm interested.
There we go.
That guy still terrifies me.
Turning the head, yeah. Who's the Zul? You play as Zul, or one of the?
Yeah, Zul's a good shout.
Yeah.
Or the librarian.
Oh yeah. This sounds good. Yeah, this is alright.
I think we've made it sound a bit better than it will be.
It won't be that good.
Do you think it's going to work? Normally these games are very buggy for a while, aren't they? I'm looking at some of the screenshots now. Oh my god.
It could be the kind of game that gets patched month after month and finally turns into a decent game after maybe a year.
Oh, it looks quite fun.
More content.
Yeah. It looks alright. Well,
that's what you can do with it.
Another game coming out in the autumn. It's going to be busy here this year. They're all going to come out, aren't they? We have so many games.
No one will notice that one.
No.
I found in the radar.
Good. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, what are we looking forward to next week? Richard, what are you looking forward to?
I'm off to see Stereophonics tomorrow. which I'm looking forward to. And then on Thursday, I'm doing more food tasting for the wedding, but this one's not cake this time. This is proper food.
Oh, what are you tasting? What are you looking forward to the most?
I think there's going to be like 8 or 9 dishes, and we need to decide and bring it down to 2 or 3.
Wow, good.
So hopefully we can.
Great. That sounds fun. What about you, Dan?
So I'm having a very late birthday get-together from the end of February. So got a few people coming over to ours on Saturday night, which should be good fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Catch up with people.
You can play some Trivial Pursuit 2. Is that out?
Well, maybe. Are you reviewing it? I can't remember.
I am reviewing it, yeah.
If you've got your final thoughts prepped by then, I might check it out.
Yeah, good. James, what about you?
Well, I think Peacemaker is on Sky, like the whole series, now. So I'm going to watch that this week.
Is it on now?
It's the one starring John Cena.
Ah.
It looks fantastic. I'd highly recommend you all watch it, because it will be good.
Can I watch it on Now TV?
Yeah, it's on there, yeah.
Oh,
it's on Now
brilliant.
TV.
Okay, lovely.
I like the film Suicide Squad, so I might give that a look.
Good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
What am I looking forward to this week? I've got so much work this week. I'm out day and night, but we are going to be back a little bit earlier next week because of my work schedule. And we're going to be covering, we're doing a special covering of what's the award ceremony we're watching? Not the award ceremony, what is it? The showcase then? Oh, that's it.
Future Games.
Future Games on the 24th. That's what we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering it next Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. Because it's going to be
I look forward to that. Everyone knows what they're doing. It'll be good.
You threw me there. I thought we were doing like a BAFTA special or something. I got really confused when you said award ceremony.
You're all turning up with different content for different award shows.
We're doing our own award ceremony. That's it. All dressing up.
The dream of the season goes to Richard.
Oh, God. Paul gets a special award for his health. Health check of the year.
Right itself.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Right. Good. Thank you, gentlemen. If we need to find you, where would we find you, James?
Twitter and Instagram at OKidUKO.
Darren?
I'm also on Twitter at 27Darren.
Richard?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Dobbo1912.
And you can find me, I always say this, GB Briley at Twitter and Twitch. I don't know if that's the right thing. But maybe it is. Who knows? Until then, we'll see you very early in about half a week's time. Sunday we're going to do the next one. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
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 You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You had found all the notes of this show at www.thexboxhub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.